From 1998 till about 2002, Disney Channel had a block that I am very fond of to this day called Zoog Disney. Now, if you're unfamiliar, I've got a description here from the Disney Wiki. Zoog Disney was a defunct afternoon block that aired on Disney Channel from 1998 to 2002, aimed mainly at the preteen market. The block was hosted by robot characters called Zoogs, who reside in the Zether, the space between TVs and computers, and featured Disney Channel original shows like Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens, music videos, and content submitted by viewers on the website, such as high scores for their online games. Their slogan was, "It's not TV you watch, it's TV you do." The Zoogs were designed by David Friedmont of Colossal Picture as a part of the revamp of Disney Channel in 1997 under Geraldine Layburn's direction. There was a lot done under her that was really good. At one point, there were potential plans for an entire show centered around the Zoogs, but this never came to fruition. Very sad, because I like the characters. Friedmont was dismayed to see the Zoogs redesigned, which he was not involved in, because there was Zoog 2.0. The original Zoogs were 2D, while the 2.0s were 3D. And they had collectible figures and stickers, by the looks of things. And characters' names were .com, Zoogina, Browser, which I think was the dog, Gatherer, MZ, Twitch, Airline, and Joe Zoog. Which one was the game controller? Which one was the game? The one that was a game controller with the three eyes. I think that was Twitch, wasn't it? I don't know. It would be funny if it was Twitch because, I mean, talk about a window into the future. But, yeah, it ran from 98 till about 2002, and you might think to yourself, what's so special about this block? I mean, it's just a block, right? I mean, the programming is really what matters, right? There was original Disney programming, but there were also music videos, which you don't get on Disney Channel anymore. There was the high scores from the website games, and here's the fun thing. If you weren't alive in 1998, the internet was a... Okay, alright. The internet was a far different place than what it is today. The reason I started cracking up, I apologize, was because the memories just started flooding back. I mean, we're talking peak dial-up internet, ladies and gentlemen. And if you're familiar with dial-up, then I don't need to explain it to you. But if you're not familiar with dial-up, internet based on the phone lines, it took a while to boot up. Several websites just flat out wouldn't work. Your hardware would just crap out instantly. So if you wanted to go to a website, which websites look totally different. Websites had flash games, and Disney's website had flash games, which is where they submitted the high scores. There were stuff based on the shows, like there was a bunch of Silverstone stuff based on the famous Jet Jackson. They had the one game with like the glove and the sun. I remember trying to play that. They barely worked. They didn't work very well, but if you had the right hardware, they probably worked better, and those were the people who were able to get their high scores. I don't think I ever got my high score up there, because I don't think I ever got a high score, because I don't think I was very good at those flash games. Regardless, I did play them. I think I tried to. I was desperate to get my name up there. 7, 8-year-old me was desperate, but going online was not like it is today. And it was emerging technology. You know, most people had personal computers in their homes, and it was emerging technology. So we had it, but it was far different than today. It was far different than today, and it was not as simple as just going on your... Today you would just go on your phone, but they were trying to play into what preteens and kids were into, which was gaming, the internet, technology was just all over the place. It was a part of their revamp, because in the 90s, it was sort of based on classical Disney stuff. Most of their bumpers were classical Disney from the 80s and 90s, and they wanted to kind of spice things up and create sort of a new identity for themselves, and it was just genius. Geraldine Laybourne was a genius. Same with David Friedmont. Or Fremont. I say... It's Fremont. I'm sad that he was upset at the changes. I'm sad that Disney... I mean, it's par for the course for Disney to go behind their creators' backs, but... it's sad. There were true geniuses at Disney during this time. This was a time when Eisner really was pushing for Disney under his leadership to... just evolve as a brand, but not... I wouldn't say erase its legacy, but embrace its legacy and use it to move forward into the future in a way that just made sense with Walt's original vision. And stuff like Zoog Disney, Playhouse Disney, having Disney Channel have multiple slots for different audiences was great. It's what made the channel watchable by so many people. Because you had Playhouse Disney, you had Zoog Disney, then you had Vault Disney late at night. And eventually they got rid of Zoog entirely, and they just went from Playhouse Disney to regular Disney Channel from the morning until the night. And then they had Vault Disney, which I never stayed up late enough for Vault Disney. I was 7 years old, guys. I went to bed at, I want to say, 7 or 8 o'clock. So I don't remember Vault Disney. Maybe my parents do. Maybe they watched it. I have no honest idea. But it was a wonderful block because he had these characters doing all these bumpers. They did so many behind-the-scenes stuff. This was the era of movie surfers and just interviews with Disney Channel show cast members and behind the scenes when they had special guests. Because they did all this stuff with music, and they tied music together in with it. You had all these concerts. Britney Spears was a guest star on Jet Jackson, and you had Aaron Carter on Lizzie McGuire, and I think Backstreet Boys were in something. I know they were on TGIF at one point, but I never watched TGIF at that point. It just wasn't worth watching because you had cable. I didn't even know it existed. My parents were like, "Hey, you remember TGIF?" I'm like, "No, Ma, that was Dad actually." So I was like, "No, Dad, I was born in '92, remember?" So I didn't get into TGIF because by its last year, I think was 2000, 2001, I was already watching. Most people were already watching Disney. You know, we were seeing Boy Meets World not on TGIF, but on Disney Channel, which is where it found its second life, and it found higher ratings. So, you know, Michael Jacobs should be thankful to Disney Channel for that, for sure. But, boy, what an era. Those several years, 98 to 2002. That's almost 5-6 years. 98, 99, 2001. About 4 years, roughly. 4 or 5 years. And that was great. It was a great time. Even Stevens and Lizzie McGuire alone were fantastic, but I've already talked about those in my Memories of Disney Channel video. But this specific era I wanted to sort of zoom in on, no pun intended, because the aesthetic was just so wild. I mean, you look up Zoog Disney commercials. That's all you got to do. They're on YouTube from various different dates. And eventually it was reduced down to Zoog Weekends, to where the Zoog has only appeared on the weekends. I think that was part of the Zoog 2.0, and then it was just a standard sort of Disney thing. Because by 97 they had rebranded, but the Zoogs weren't there yet. So by 98, Zoogs came on the scene. So I was about 6 when they rebranded, and I don't think we had that Disney Channel. Maybe we did, because I went and watched some of the bumpers from 97, and I was like, I remember these. I remember these movie promos, because it used to just be mostly classic Disney movies and original Disney movies, with some shows in between. They really started to ramp up acquired and original programming by 98, 99, up till, you know, just the onslaught of original stuff they had by 2004. So that was a really special time. It was just a special network. Disney was just great, which is why it pains me to look at modern Disney and all of its incarnations and just want to vomit, because who's running this show? I know Bobby Iger's running it, but he had been running it, I think, by 2004. And he didn't really mess with it very much. You know, 2004, you get into the whole Wand era, I think it's called. And while that was a different... I didn't quite like that logo as much as the old-fashioned TV logo from Zoog in that era. But it was still a fun era. Most of the programming and bumpers were still filled with life and identity. By the time you get to the current era, which started, I think, in the 2010s, the mid-2010s, it's a whole different network, and it's worse. And they've abandoned it for Disney Plus. There's nothing there. If Bob Iger called me tomorrow and said, I want you to run the Disney Channel. This is a complete fantasy. He'll never do this. There's a better chance of the local janitor for the network running the channel than there is for me. But if he was to, I'd say, okay, here's the plan. We are going to invest in original programming once again. We're talking sitcoms, an animated series, bumpers, and interactivity. Having a Disney Channel app, a Disney Channel YouTube channel, and just tying everything together, because I think that that's where the synergy lies. And Disney Plus, tying Disney Plus into it. So if you miss something on Disney Channel, you can hop over to Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever they decide to make the two merged things. I really think they should just make it Hulu. I think that's the smarter thing. Hulu's the stronger brand, but I'm not in charge of Disney, so I don't know what they're going to do. They keep trying to force Disney Plus. Nobody likes it. If they turn it into Hulu, I think people will be fine with it. But just tie it all in together. Tie in Disney Channel. They've got that Disney Now and Disney Plus. They're sort of doing that now. But Disney Channel itself is suffering because there's not enough subscribers for them to justify. They've shut down Disney Channel in several countries. America is one of the only countries left that has it, and it probably won't be for too many more years if Disney keeps having financial troubles. They'll eventually try to sell it off, and that'll be a sad day. I don't care what's on. I'll tune in. I will tune in for the last days of Disney Channel because that is a integral part of my childhood. I'll call up my sisters and tell them, you guys need to watch. You need to say you were there for the end of this wonderful thing that took place over the course of almost 40 some odd years. Because it's amazing. It was so important growing up. But if I was to run it, I'd say, okay, here we're gonna revive it. We're gonna boost all of our brands and interconnect them. You have Disney Plus. We'll put it on Disney Plus. We'll put Disney Channel on Disney Plus. So, even if you don't have cable or satellite, if you have Disney Plus, you have access to linear Disney Channel. I don't understand why they don't do this. Now, technically, Hulu Live TV has it. So, technically, they've got it on streaming, but not really. If they were smart, they would start putting TV networks on streaming and cutting out the middleman of cable entirely. I think that's how you get people on streaming. Allow people to watch linear TV, and then they can just do a hop, skip, and a jump to get to on-demand content. That's it. I think that would be the smartest thing to do, but Disney, I don't run Disney. Obviously, I don't run Disney. Apparently nobody smart runs Disney. I don't know what happened to Bob Iger. I think at a point he was reasonable, and then, or maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was just always terrible. I don't know. All I know is I miss the Zoog era. I miss Disney Channel from 98 till about 2004. That was peak Disney Channel. Even Stevens, Lizzie McGuire, Proud Family, Kim Possible, American Dragon, Jake Long. That's So Raven. Acquired shows like Boy Meets World, Smart Guy, Sister Sister, Brotherly Love, all the Lawrence Brothers original movies, all the regular Disney Channel original movies, and programming in between. Hey, on the rare chance there was nothing on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network, Disney was the place to be. Otherwise, I was on those other two networks. And you look at Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon's been trying to really revamp their network, although they haven't really tried to revamp programming. But they're leaning into that Nickelodeon brand, whereas Disney has just let the Disney Channel brand languish into obscurity, when they could be reviving it. They could do a Zoog 3.0. If they did a Zoog 3.0, out of sheer curiosity, I would tune in tomorrow if that's what they announced they were going to do. Maybe they would have a Zoog Disney app or Zoog Disney and just bring back, I don't know, I'm spitballing ideas here. But I miss it. I miss what it used to be. I've got fond memories of that specific era of Disney Channel. Very fond memories. The internet of the time, all of it. It was just fun. It was just good, old-fashioned fun. And it was, the best thing about it was that Disney was reading the room correctly. I think they were a couple of years before their time with the whole internet culture. But they were on the pulse of what was popular. They were on the pulse of what it was that people wanted, but they weren't abandoning their identity. They didn't get rid of all of their Disney-branded shows. They started adding original programs on top of what was already there. And then they made a transition to more and more original programming as opposed to classics. And I think that's where they started to go wrong. Because people still like the classics, but you've only got so much room on your schedule. That's where things like Disney Plus don't have that limitation. But Disney Plus also doesn't have any identity. It's just a bland service. You want people to use Disney Plus, you want it to be worth people's money. First of all, take away ads on the lowest tier. But second of all, actually promote stuff. Use bumpers. Do live networks on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is so bare bones. And it's so pathetic because it's so bare bones. Give it some life. Give it some identity. Give it some pop. You know, give people things that they can only get from Disney. Don't make it as generic as everything else with Disney content. They've also got disclaimers on old content. This content doesn't reflect our current attitude at the Disney company that was made before we all became cultural Marxist dummies. Oh. I wanted to make this video without complaining about modern day Disney, but you can't, because modern Disney just sucks. It just sucks. I wouldn't trust a toddler in front of modern Disney to save my life. Not like back in the day, not like 98 to 2004. No, sir, that was peak Disney Channel right there. I'd love, if Disney said tomorrow, and I'm embarrassed because I swore I would never give Disney money, but if Disney said we're releasing a line of merchandise with classic Disney Channel logos, I might have to buy some. I might have to buy some. I just might. I love it that much. It invokes so many positive memories of sitting in front of the TV with my sisters and my family. It's all gone. None of it's left. I look at the modern Disney and it's just, why do they still use the name? It's not the same company. It's not the same people. It's awful. Anyways, let me know what your memories are if you have any of the Zoog Disney era or from 98 to 2004. Thank you very much for watching and putting up with my rambling. This has been Super Koopa TV. God bless. Have a good one. Peace.